But now, going off of that, how do you feel about people using spoilers to pitch a show to you? Like using like a specific instance or showing you a specific scene or something that would, it is a spoiler, but it would gauge your interest or make you want to watch it?
That depends. Like, it depends on the spoiler itself. Cause like, you know, if they're pitching me on the major, like, I'll use Attack on Titan for an example, because I feel like that's a good one. If you haven't seen Attack on Titan, I'm sorry. I think we already spoiled it in this podcast, or at least in our anime Attack on Titan series. But if you're going to sell Attack on Titan to me, or if I was going to describe Attack on Titan to someone to try and get into it, I would probably tell them the premise, which would inadvertently spoil episode 1 or possibly episode 9, because we're so far into the series. I feel like at some point you kind of have to mention Eren being a Titan to sell the series. Yeah. Unless you're just like, hey, watch the series, don't look anything up, just watch it. You'll see in the first episode. But sometimes that doesn't really work, especially when other people have already seen the art of the series. They've seen it in news, they've seen it on Twitter, they've seen Eren being a Titan. Like, that's kind of almost, I don't want to say public knowledge, but it is like very much well known to many people. Yeah. So I feel like to an extent you almost have to spoil that. But at the same time, so I think that one I would almost like tell people to get them invested, because I do think it is a really good hook to get them into the series. And I don't think it really spoils some of the major plot twists later on that are like really impactful. Like, I don't think telling them the identity of certain Titan holders or telling them of later character deaths would be a good way to get someone invested in the series. Yeah. But I could see spoiling the events of episode 1 or spoiling Eren's being a Titan as like fair game spoilers. You know what I mean?
Or telling them about some power up or something that's kind of exciting. Not an Attack on Titan. You don't get power ups in there. Well, I guess you could say you do, but
you kind of. Well, that's I would say Eren becoming a Titan would be a power up.
There you go, power up.
Yeah, like, do you think that would be fair, or would you consider that too spoilery?
No, I think that's. I definitely, because it happens so early on. So it's like what, episode 4 in the first season or something? Episode 5?
It's like episode 9.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Yeah. Well, it's still like, I don't know. There's been
in the grand scheme of things, like,
yeah. The other thing. Oh my God.
We will talk about that in chat, but like not yet. Not yet. That's the big one.
But yeah, I think another scenario with that is like, for example, this week, Loki, the Marvel show, started airing on Disney Plus. It's airing weekly every Wednesday, and I know it's not anime, but I'm watching it, and like I was watching like a video on it on YouTube, like breaking down all of the things that you missed, and there was like so many like little details and so much stuff, and it's the same thing with anime that's airing weekly. Like, the fun part is all the speculation that's like kind of going on every week. And you might be totally wrong by the end of it, but if you are keeping up with it weekly, it's like everyone's kind of like, this theory, that little detail that you missed, and you don't know if it has a larger implication or if it's just a cool detail that was just kind of there. So yeah, I think that's one part of it. Like, so like if you were spoiled, like if you were already kind of told like from the beginning, like, oh, those don't mean anything, or, like this is actually where it's gonna end up going by episode 2 or 3, it wouldn't be as fun, I guess. Like, less of a point to make videos on it.
So did you feel spoiled by them by the details, or do you feel like that's just kind of like leading people too far in a direction?
Wait, what do you mean?
Were you saying, I wasn't sure if you meant that like the speculation surrounding like the first episode?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like having, so to be clear, so like part of the fun of not being spoiled is that you can speculate every week.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Because you don't know for sure. It's the uncertainty. So you're kind of picking at the crumbs of everything that's kind of, especially with a show like that, of like they're laying the groundwork for such a large, universe. Yeah. It's not tied to one thing that you're like, well, what does this mean? What does that mean? Is this other character going to cameo? But if you knew for sure, then that kind of just makes all of that speculation dead in the water.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I agree with that, because I do think a lot of the speculation is part of the fun of it, like being able to guess what happens next, and that can make you more invested in everything going forward.
Yeah, like for example, in the Attack on Titan streams I took part in for your podcast, like if all of us in there knew the manga and knew what was going on, I don't think it would have been as fun of a conversation.
Yeah. It was fun hearing people like speculate on what would happen next, and really funny hearing them be completely wrong at times. I'm thinking to like Sinris. So I'm not going to say what they said as a speculation, but they had a really funny one that was like disprove the next episode.
Yeah. And from a community aspect, it's also fun. Like when you get a friend or someone into the show and they don't know that this plot twist is going to happen or anything, and you're just kind of, you want to see their reaction when it does happen. So if they knew already, it's like you're deprived of seeing them.
Yeah, like you want to see their reaction to everything.
Yeah. So I think, that's a point in not spoiling's favor. The point against spoilers.
Something I saw Panic said in chat before we get to the true topic of conversation, that's funny, is like, would you spoil Pancreas to save someone the time? And that's something I've always kind of, I've seen the sentiment before, not like calling Panic out or Pancreas out, but I've seen the sentiment of people spoiling bad things because they feel like it's so worthless that it doesn't matter that they're spoiling someone on it. And I've always found that like really disrespectful, because naturally, like, one man's trash is another man's treasure. You don't know how invested someone could be in that. And I feel like, it's still not worth like spoiling someone, even though you think something is worthless. Like, for example, I'm not fond of Mirai Nikki, the Future Diaries series, but there are a lot of big plot twists in that I could see really enhancing someone's experience. So I'm not going to like spoil someone on a show that I think is bad that they might find good. Like, I think it's important to have like mutual respect for like good series with spoilers and bad series with spoilers, because it's still the principle of spoiling someone on something they haven't seen.
I think it also comes down to like how well you know the person too. Like if they're like a friend and you know their tastes very well and they're asking you like as a favor, like they don't want to waste their time and they're sort of like, hey, like, are you looking for like popcorn entertainment, or do you want like something deep and meaningful and I don't know, well executed? And they know your taste, you know their taste. Like I guess in that case you could, maybe you won't spoil it for them, but you could just be like, hey, it's not worth it. I don't know. Yeah. But, or you just give them the rundown.
I think it's fine. Like, as long as it's part of the premise, I think it's fair game.